Hi everybody, I'm Zilla Blitz and welcome, as today we're going to take a look at 1942 War in the Pacific Solitaire from Worthington Games. Now in this game you take charge of the Allied forces in World War II and you can play the entire World War II campaign in 20 minutes or less. Solitaire game that's travel friendly, easy to learn and easy to play. It's also the sibling game to War of 1812 Solitaire that we looked at earlier on the channel. In this episode, we'll take a look at the components. We're going to do an entire Pacific War playthrough and then offer some impressions on gameplay. Let's jump in and get started. Here's a look at our Pacific War 1942 components. We've got our rule book, the box, everything fits. This will actually fit into some cargo pants pockets if your pockets are big enough. 2 player aids, we've got counters here, and then our map and a die roll to help us control action. Now this is a quick overview. This is an I go, you go game. It's solitaire game only. Japanese forces are always controlled by the solitaire bot, and the player is always the Allied forces. The Allies are going to take a couple of actions, anywhere from 1 to 4 actions in a turn, and then the Japanese forces are going to react to that and take their own actions. Basically, as the Allied forces, you're trying to push the Japanese forces back along these tracks to eventually capture Japan, which is worth a lot of victory points. And that is how gameplay is, winning is determined. Whoever has the most victory points at the end of the game determines who wins the campaign. Let's jump in now and take a look at these components piece by piece. Here is our entire rule set. We've got 6 panels here, and then it continues over to the second side here where it has some of the scoring on these last 2 panels. And then these 4 panels here are kind of some playing tips and a little bit of clarifiers, and then a brief history of the Pacific War. So this, again, it takes about 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes to learn the entire game, and you are ready to go. So very easy to learn. If I were to give this a complexity, I'm going to say a 2 out of 10. I mean, there are a few die roll modifiers you want to keep in mind, but other than that, it's a very simple game to pick up and learn and play. Here's our counter set. 18 counters come into play at all. These bottom 2 aren't used. It is double-sided, as various of these counters you're going to be flipping over to designate who controls what. For example, up top here we have the ocean control counters. When it's under Japanese control, you're going to flip them up that way. When the US have control, the Allies have control, excuse me, then it's going to be under Allied control. Europe can come into play as well, creating distractions for the Allied forces, so you have to keep an eye on Europe if you are the Allies. Here's our turn marker. Then these in here are our front markers for the US forces and the front markers for the Japanese forces. This is basically going to dictate where the front line is. The US can also bring in some reserves that can give you extra die rolls in combat if you want to go that way. So very modest set, really easy. The footprint and the gameplay is very smooth and quick. We have 2 very handy player aids. Once you read through the rules, these player aids are pretty much going to be your guide through playing the game, so you shouldn't have to refer to the rules very often, except for kind of calculating final victory points and scores and things like that. These are all these are both, well, double-sided, but one functional side to these. This is kind of the sequence of play and then the results on how the US are going to be able to take action. So we've got ship battle results, Europe to remove European influence. It takes an action point, whether you're going to advance on a front or not, and then how many action points you get per turn. And this depends on how far into the campaign you are. The Allies get more action points as the campaign goes longer. And this is one of the differences between the War of 1812. If you've got the War of 1812 Solitaire, gameplay is very similar, but there are some thematic and a few mechanical differences between the 2 games. The second player aid here is the guide for the Japanese actions. When the Japanese have their turn, you're going to roll a single die, and then depending on whether it's an odd turn or an even turn, they're going to do something else. So you roll the die, you look whether it's odd turn or even turn, and then you do what these instructions say. And this is going to be the Japanese response to your actions. Here's our game board. This is 7 by 14 inches in size, and we've got 4 fronts that the Allied forces are pushing forward on. The Chinese front here, Indian front along the left here, Australian front, and then the Hawaiian front. And there are also oceans in play, so who has control of the ocean is going to make it easier or more difficult to conduct operations in the area. But basically, as the Allied forces, you are deciding where to conduct offensives and how to try to push the Japanese forces back. And again, the game is determined on victory points. Japan control, this doesn't symbolize controlling all of Japan, but a portion of Japan. This is worth 6 victory points. So this is the way we definitely want to make sure we go. We want to be in Japan by the end of the campaign here. Singapore is also worth 3 victory points if you can work through this Indian front down here. Controlling the oceans is also going to be vital. And then the game lasts 20 turns, at which point you calculate the victory points. However, there is an atomic bomb dropped on Japan event that can happen on the Japanese turn on the even turns between 17 and 20. So 18 and 20. If we roll a 4 as the Japanese actions, the game ends immediately. And so you calculate victory points at that point in time. And if the atomic bomb is not dropped, it's -2 points to the Allies. So that would be a nice pickup, but you also could lose a couple of turns as the Allies there if that happens faster than you would expect. With all that being said, I think we've covered everything we need to know. Let's jump in and set up and start our gameplay. So let's get Pacific War started. There are 4 fronts that we're going to be active on. The Central Front, which is US-led, Southwest Front, led by the US, pushing this way towards Japan, China Front, pushing this way towards Japan, the India Front, which starts in Burma and works its way down here to Java. And each one of these fronts basically is kind of the line that we're trying to push the Japanese forces back on. Now, victory is determined by victory point total. We need 19 victory points to win. And Japan is worth 6. Singapore is worth 3. Each one of these intermediate spots here is worth 1 point, except for the places we start from or the ones that already have flags in them. So right here we can see this Japan-driven track from the Central Front would get us 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. There's 10 of the 19 points we need right there. Now, of other critical importance is this the sea fronts here. The Japanese start out by controlling all 3 of the oceans, Indian Ocean, Southwest Pacific, and Central Pacific. We want to flip control because right now this is worth 2 points to them if they have control of it and 1 point to us if we can gain control of it. And if you're attacking without sea control, you have a -1 die roll modifier. So we want to avoid that. So one of our priorities is going to be to flip control of the oceans to the Allies so that we can successfully conduct our operations. Europe may come into play along the way. We'll talk about that. That would be a Japanese die roll that would cause that distraction. The other thing is we lose 2 points because the atomic bomb has not been dropped yet. So right now at the very start of the game, we have achieved none of our objectives and haven't moved along any tracks. We don't have any control of the oceans. So Japan has 2, 4, 6, and then the atomic bomb hasn't been dropped, so it is 8-point lead. So right now our victory point total is at -8, and we need to get to 19. With that being said, let's start out with our first turn here. So we get the turn track on turn 1. We're going to roll for action points. These are the ones that we need on turns 1 through 8. And our allied actions here are listed right over here. We can attack a Japanese front marker. We can attack a Japanese sea area to try to take control of that. We can add a reserve. We could remove a Europe marker if it's in play, or we could flip a front marker from stalled to active. There's various Japanese actions that can stall our fronts. Now, we can see on the action points here, we want big numbers, because big numbers like a 6 gets us 3 action points. If you watched the War of 1812 Solitaire replay, we had some of the worst supply situations imaginable. We totally lost the War of 1812. Hope we have fired our supply director. We have a new supply person in charge. Let's get started. We start with a 3, back to normal. We have 1 action point, but we have a plan. We're going to try to get control of the Central Pacific because that's where we want to launch our major offensive. Ship battle results are down here. 1 to 3 is no effect. 4 to 6 means that we've won this naval battle and we gain control of the Central Pacific. Most excellent. That's a better start than we got in the War of 1812. Now we go to turn 1 for the Japanese. Let's do their action. We're going to roll the die and we're going to look down here to see what it is. So we get a 1, and turn 1 is an odd turn. So Chiang Kai-shek, attack the Allied front marker on the China front and flip the China front to stalled. Okay, so attacking on the front, a 1 to 2, the Japanese will advance. There are no die roll modifiers in effect for this one. So we're hoping for a 1 or a 2. 1 or 2, they will not advance. Anything else, they will advance. A 1, yes. We held front. However, we do stall out. So at Kunming, the Chinese front, not making any progress. Nevertheless, we go to turn 2. Let's see how we can do on turn 2. Big number, please. 4, not bad. We get 2 action points. Let us, oh, and we're at -6 right now in terms of victory points. Let's see if we can gain control of the Southwest Pacific. We need another big number. We fail. We're going to try our second action down there again. We succeed. Yes, we're slowly flipping the ocean to our control. Let's see what the Japanese do on their turn 2. They get a 5, and it's an even turn. China and Britain attack the Allied front marker on the China and India fronts. That's actually bad because if the Japanese occupy China, India, Australia, or Hawaii, 2 of those 4 places, we immediately lose. So getting pushed back here could put us in serious trouble. We'd have to address that problem. Let's see how we do on the China frontier. Hopefully we can fight off someplace. We lose that one, we get pushed back to China. Japan pushes into Kunming here. And then likewise, yes, the British hold in Burma, denying the Japanese progress. That's good, but still, this is getting a little bit nerve-wracking here. We might want to take care of that. But that's turn 2. Let's go to turn 3, hoping for a big number for us. No, that's not a big number. We get 1 action point. Let's not worry too much about losing the war yet. Let's actually launch a Central Front offensive against Tarawa here, because let's actually go this way. We'll go up to Guadalcanal. That seems like a good place. Now, we're launching an attack here with our 1 action. On a 1 to a 2, we get no advance. On a 3 to 6, we advance here. 2 fails. The initial attacks on Guadalcanal don't work out. Allies stalling out here. If the game were to end right now, we would actually be -2. We have 1.2 points. It's actually 0 right now, right? We flip, oh, and then the atomic bomb, so we're -2 right now. Well, we are making progress in the right direction. Japanese turn 3, they get a 2, and it's an odd turn. American juggernauts attack the Allied front marker on the Central Front and the Southwest Pacific Front. Oh man, they're pushing us back. We're going the wrong way. Central Front first. We hold. Excellent. Midway does not fall. Fort Moresby does not fall. Excellent. So neither side putting on offensive prowess here. Let's go to turn 4. Gets a bunch of actions. 3. Once again, we only get 1 action. Having shades of War of 1812 here. Let's attack again at Guadalcanal with our 1 action. Oh, I should have subtracted 1 from the die roll here on the Japanese attacks because we control the ocean there, so we would have held on a 1 to 3 on those. But we held anyway, so no worries here. Let's come down here, Southwest Front. We need a 3, 4, 5, or 6 to advance. And once again, the offensive into Guadalcanal does not work. Let's go to Japanese turn 4. 6. It's an even turn. Imperial Navy. If the Japanese control the Indian Ocean sea area, flip the India front marker to stalled. They do. So we flip the India front marker to stalled. Not making progress here in the west. Otherwise attack the Allied ships on the Indian Ocean. We don't do that. Okay, turn 5. Not really good. We need big numbers. There we go. We got a 5. So we get 2 action points. Let's try Guadalcanal again. This time it's going to work. Yes. We push them all the way to Hollandia, and we have taken Guadalcanal. Excellent for the Allies. Let us now keep going. Let's push up into New Guinea and Hollandia with our Southwest Front. We fail. Wow, we are really having trouble on the offensive here. Let's go to the Japanese turn 5. They get a 1, and it's odd. Attack the Allied front marker on the China front and flip China from China to front to stalled. Well, it already is stalled, but they're going to attack it. They need a 1 or a 2 to hold. A 3, 4, 5, or 6, and Japan would push us out of China. They do. This is bad now. If we lose 1 more of these spots, we have lost the entire war. We might want to take action up here in China to see if we can get this going. Let's go to turn 6 now. 5. So we get 2 actions. That's not bad. With one of them here, let's flip the China front to active. And with the second one, let's attack and push them out. We get a 6. We succeed and push them back to Kunming. That's a little bit of a defensive turn there, but I think it might have been important. Let's go now to the Japanese turn, turn 6. They get a 1, even turns, other fronts. So this one, I'm not sure what it means. And I've asked a question on Board Game Geek. I'm waiting for an answer. It says, other fronts, reduce the Allied Army reserves by 1. and flip 2 active fronts to stalled, player choice. So I don't know if that means you take one out of the game or you take one out that's active and put it back in the supply. I assume it's take one out that's active, but we don't have any active. So we'll play it that way for now. I'm probably not going to use these, so if it's taken out of the game, it probably doesn't matter. But we need to flip fronts over. Let's flip the Chinese front to stalled, and let's flip the Southwest front to stalled. Stalling all over the place here for the allies here. Let's get this going. We do control the oceans, which is promising. Turn 7, we get a 4, so we get 2 actions. Let's unstall this Southwest front, and let's drive up into New Guinea here with the Southwest front. 6, excellent. We push them back to Mindanao here in the kind of southwest towards the Philippines here. Excellent. Southwest front is our only successful front here. Let's go to turn 7 for the Japanese. They get a 2 and it's odd. Attack the Allied front marker on the Central and Southwest Pacific. Okay, so because we control the oceans, there's a -1 attack modifier for them. So Japan needs a 4, 5, or a 6 to be successful. Let's do the Central front first. Oh, they do. They push us out of Midway into Hawaii. So a late attack on Midway. And now let's see, doing the same thing here. Ah, they push us back here. Good Lord, we're not doing very well. I'm not very good at these games. Turn 8. Okay, let's drive on now. We're going to need to push back here. Let's get some offensive going here. 6, excellence. Turned 1-8. We get 3 action points. Fantastic. Let us go Central front active. Let's retake Midway. We fail. Let's try it again. We succeed, pushing him back to Tarawa. Excellent. Let's retake New Guinea. We have to drive closer to Japan. Fail. Wow, why do I have so many 1s and 2s on it? It's unreal. Okay, that's the end of our actions there. We only gained 1 spot with 3 attacks. That's rather disappointing. Okay, now we go to the Japanese. They get a 2 on even turns. Imperial Navy. If the Japanese control the Southwest Pacific Navy, the Pacific area, they do not. So we flip it over. We flip the front marker to stalled. Otherwise, they're going to attack the shipping here. It is a 1 to 3, has no effect, 4, 5, or 6, and they are successful. Of course they're successful. Why not? They're successful at everything they do. Pesky Japanese. Turn 9. All right. I think we're going to sacrifice this Chinese front and just let it be, but I would like to drive down and get Singapore here, and we do need to get going this way. We need some actions. Now, turn 9 here starts, we get increased action points. 1 to 3, we get 2. On a 6, we get 4 action points. So we get 2 action points with a 3. We want to retake control of the ocean. We fail. We're going to try again. And we fail. Okay, turn 9 for the Japanese. I think these games hate me. 2, and it's odd. Attack the Allied front marker on the Central and Southwest Pacific fronts. Okay, so they're going to attack here and here. Now here, we control the ocean, so they need a 1, they need a 4, 5, or 6. They fail. Here, they control the ocean, so they need a 1 or a 2. They fail. Defensively, we're not doing that badly here. Turn 10, the Pacific War is almost halfway over. We have not made much progress. We've only advanced 1 spot in the whole frontier. Okay, let's get some actions. 3, of course, the lower number, we get 2 action points. Get control of the ocean. 4, yes. All right, let's go up to New Guinea. Let's retake that. Have we been there before? Yes. Making progress. Okay, that was a good turn. I like it. Now let's go to the Japanese turn for turn 10. A 2, and it's even. This is if the Japanese, Imperial Navy, the Japanese control the Southwest Pacific area, flip it, flip the front marker to stalled. Otherwise, they attack the ships here. So they're going to attack the Allied ships. Let's see what they do. They need a 1, 2, or 3. They need a 4, 5, or 6. A 1, 2, or 3, and they fail. They fail. Denied. Our Navy holds. Let's do a quick calculation now at the halfway point in the war and see how we are doing with victory points. So we've got control of this area. That's 1. That's 2. They have control here. That's 2 for them. So that's a wash. That's 0. The atomic bomb has not been dropped. That will happen automatically in a Japanese action with a certain die roll. So chances are it might happen. So that puts us at -2. We have taken Guadalcanal, which gives us a point, and we've taken New Guinea here, which gives us a point. So that gives us 2. So at the halfway point in the war, we've gone from -8 to 0. Okay, not very good. Let's get control of, we should get control of the Indian Ocean and get the Brits going here too. So let's go to turn 11 now. We're up to turn 11. This is where the luck turns in our favor. We're going to get 6s and 4 action points. We get 2 action points. I think we get the lowest rolls on the action points I've ever seen. Okay, let's get control of the Indian Ocean. That will give us, yes, excellent. We got control of the ocean here. And let's push up here to Mindanao and getting closer to Manila. At 5, excellent. Our southwest front is doing well. That actually, I think, puts us, well, let's see how the Japanese reaction here in turn 11 before we get too excited. They get a 2, lots of 2s here for everybody. Turn 11 is odd turns. Attack the Allied front marker on the Central and Southwest Pacific fronts. Okay, so there is an action by which they attack around Japan, and we have that yet to have that come up, which kind of has them just totally waste a turn. We've not seen that yet, so the Japanese have been very active. We do control the ocean, so it's a 1, 2, or 3 for defense. Let's do the Central front first. We fail, Midway falls again, and let's see if we can hold in Mindanao. We fail and get pushed back to New Guinea. Okay, let's go, turn 12. Let's get a 6, a 5, okay, 3 action points. Now we can do a little bit here. Let's push out of Midway. Let's retake Midway here. Fail. Success, good, let's go there. And let's push back up to Mindanao. Success, excellent. Okay, so we regained the ground we lost. So we're going nowhere, but we're not losing ground. Let's go to turn 12 for the Japanese. They get a 5 and it's even. China and Britain attack the Allied front markers on the China and India fronts. Okay, this is failed state category stuff over here. Let's do China first. They need a 4, 5, or 3, 4, 5, or 6 to succeed. They do. They take China, which puts them really close to winning here. And the India front, let's see if Burma can hold. It does not. So if the Japanese were to take India here in the next turn, we would lose. So that's a dangerous position we really need to rectify. Turn 13 here. 6, we get 4 action points. Okay, we're gonna concede the China front. I don't care about, we're gonna just say that's not what we're doing. We're gonna make the India front active for our first action. We have 3 more actions though. Let's attack Burma. Fail. Oh, we have control of the oceans. Let's attack again. Fail. Let's attack again. Success, right? Because 1, 2, or yes, a 3 we succeed. Attacker wins. Yes, because we have we win anyway. We have control of the oceans. Okay, so 4 actions. We got 1 spot. Oh, I feel like we should be doing better on these actions, but anyway. Okay, turn 13 for the Japanese. We've at least taken out that instant fail state for them. 1 on an odd turn. Attack the Allied front marker on the China front and flip China front to stalled. But they've already got China, so that's basically nothing for them, which is good for us. Let's go to turn 14. Really need to push here and here now, I think. Let's go. Let's get another 6. 4, not bad. We get 3 action points. Let's take Rangoon. Come on, Brits, let's go. Oh my gosh, these Brits are terrible in this world. Again, success. Okay, that's 2. Let's push them to Saigon. Yes, okay, now they're fired up and moving after we ridiculed them a little bit. Brits responding to some harsh criticism. That's good, we're pushing forward here now. Turn 14 for the Japanese is a 2 and it's even. Imperial Navy, if the Japanese control the Southwest Pacific area, they do not, so they're going to attack it. A 1 to 3, they fail. A 4, 5, or 6, the attacker wins. Oh, I thought it was gonna, they do. They got control of the ocean again with all their kamikaze attacks. Okay, turn 15, we need to regain control of the ocean, that's for sure. A 5 gives us 3 action points. We're going after the Japanese. We're gonna take control of the Southwest Pacific again. Fail. Success. All right, let's push into Manila. No, actually, we're gonna wait here. I'm gonna try a strategy, which is we're gonna spend one of these and bring a reserves in here. This gives us an extra die roll, and the reason I want to do that is there is a Japanese result that says they're going to attack any places that are to or closer to Japan. So when we push in here, I want to go all the way up very quickly. So we're going to take that as our 3rd action and then end the turn there. That way we can re-roll one of our attacks if we need to. Japanese, turn 15. 4, odd turn. Japanese subs, flip one allied sea control marker, if in play, to Japanese control player choice. It doesn't really matter. Let's give them this one here, but we're going to try to get that right back. Now we go to turn 16. Time is running short here. We need to make a push to Japan, actually, at this point. A 3 is not the best result. We get 2 action points. But let's get control of the seas. Those are imperative. We fail, and we fail. Ah, that was a bad turn. That was a painful turn. We really kind of needed that turn. Okay, Japan gets a 5, which is even. China and Britain attack the Allied front marker on the China and India front. So China they've already taken and pushed out, but they are going to attack in Bangkok. Now we have control of the oceans, so they need a 4, 5, or 6. And they fail, we hold. Excellent, so no progress by the Japanese. But now the war is getting into the late stages. The atom bomb can be dropped on an even turn now if we get that die roll. We really need to make our progress fast now. Let's get a big number. Yes! 4 action points. Here we go. Let's get control of the Central Pacific. Come on, we got so many aircraft carriers by this point in the war, right? Fail. So that's 1 action. Fail. That's 2 actions. Success. Okay. And 1 more action to go. Let's take Manila here up in here. We have to do it. Success, because we have control of the ocean. Anyway, that was good. Yeah, we get control of the ocean. We are into Manila. Was that our... Yeah, that was our 4th action, right? Because we failed, success, and then succeeded here. Okay, we don't need that extra die roll. Now we're pushing up to Okinawa. This is fortified, which gives the Japanese a -1 die roll modifier. Turn 17 for the Japanese. A 5 on odd is, if the Japanese control the Central Pacific area, flip the front marker to stalled. They do not, otherwise attack the Allied ships. So a 1 to 3 is no effect. A 4, 5, or 6, they succeed. Once again, they throw us back. They've held Tarawa here for a long time. Turn 18. So this is a 3-point flip here, right? So one of the things that I really want to do is make sure we flip this. Our goal is really for these last 3 turns to get control of the ocean, push up to Japan, and see if we can push down to Singapore. I don't think we're going to have enough to win, but I think we could at least get a draw. We are going to need a lot of action points for this. We don't. We get 2. Let's take control of the Navy here. But we've spent so many times and we've failed on this. Yes! Success. Okay, let's push up to Okinawa. Now, we have control of the ocean, so we need a 3, 4, 5, or 6 is successful, but there's a -1 die roll modifier because Okinawa is a fortress, so we need a 1, 2, or 3 to fail, 4, 5, or 6 to advance. Yes! Okinawa falls. We go there. We only had 2 actions, right? I think we rolled 2. Is that correct? I have to look at the replay on that. I'll be right back. Yes, the video replay confirms that we use both of our actions. We are done. Turn 18 for the Japanese. Now, if we roll a 4, this is where the atomic bomb falls under the condition right here, which would immediately end the game. It doesn't win the game for the US, it just ends the game and you calculate the score. Get a 6 on even turns. Imperial Navy. If the Japanese control the Indian Ocean area, they do not. Otherwise, they're going to attack the Indian Ocean area. Let's defend. We fail. Japanese get in control of it. This being a 3-point flip becomes a priority, but Japan is worth 6 points. As we go to turn 19 with 2 turns left, let's do a quick calculation to see how many victory points we have. So we've taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points here. We get 6 and 7 points for control of the ocean. So we are at 7 points, 8 for Rangoon, 9 for Bangkok. That's it. So we have 9 positive. Japan gets 2 for this, and 2 because the atomic bomb has not been dropped. We are at 5 points, and we need 19 to win. Things are looking pretty grim here. 13 is a draw. We could get a draw, I think, if we control this and get Japan, right? That's progress for us here. We need a lot of action points to be safe. Let's get a lot of supplies in the theater now. 3, 2 action points. That's rather bleak here. Let's go for Japan because we have the extra die roll we can use. So normally we need a 3, 4, 5, or 6 to be successful. We control the ocean, so that's good, no minus die roll mode, but it's -2. So we need a 5 or a 6. However, we have our reserves, we can send in 2. We could capture Japan with 2. We get 2 rolls of this. Let's do the first one. Yes! So the Southwest Front pushes up from Okinawa right into Japan. We never even needed that die. We can use it on the defense though too. So we push that out. That gives us a massive 6 victory points, and we still have an action yet left. Let's get control of the Indian Ocean here. 4, we do. Aha! Things have looked a little bit up right now. Let's see what the Japanese do on turn 19. They get a 2, and it's the odd turn. Attack the Allied front marker on the Central and Southwest Pacific Front. So they are going to attack us. Here, let's do Central Front first. They fail because we control the ocean. They have a -1 die roll modifier. Same thing up here, and they have a -2 die roll modifier to attack us, and we control the ocean. So it's -3 for them because die roll modifiers are cumulative. So normally they need a 3, 4, 5, or 6, but -3 means they need a 6 to succeed. Is that correct? They get a 1. Either way, they failed, and we hold it. So, and we could have used our reroll there if we needed to. So Japan is firmly, well, this symbolizes, again, holding part of Japan, not the whole thing. The last turn, let's calculate our victory points here. We got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 16 victory points right now. And Japan we have not dropped the atomic bomb, so it's -2. So we have 14 victory points. If we could get here, we'd have 15, 16, 17, 18. We would need the Japanese, we need a big move here somehow. But if we could get to Singapore, we're getting closer. That would give us 4 more. And if for some reason we rolled a 4 on the last turn, I think we would get it. But let's get a lot of actions. Let's get a 6. Oh, seriously, 2 actions. Okay. Well, the best thing we can try to do is to take Singapore. That would give us the most victory points at this point in time, because we can't take any of the oceans or anything like that. It's up to the Brits now. Let's go. Where are they going for here? Saigon. Let's go. Let's get some Vietnamese food. 2. We failed. Okay. Come on, Brits. Let's try it again. 4. Okay. So we got it there, but not getting Singapore, I think, dooms us here, because as we go to the Japanese turn, let me calculate the points. So we have 17 points on the board, but because the A-bomb hasn't been dropped, we have to subtract 2, which means we're at 15. We cannot win. We can get a draw. If the A-bomb is dropped, we get up to 17, which gets us 2 points away from victory, which is better than the last time. This is the second time I played. The first time I got 9 points. Let's see what the Japanese do here. They get a 5, and it's an even turn. Attack the Allied front marker on the China and India fronts. Well, China they've already got, so that's a moot point, but they do attack on the India front. Let's see what they get. They get a 5. They do push us back there. And that ends World War II in the Pacific. So calculating up the victory points, we got 6 here, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 victory points there. We got 12, 13 here. We got 14, 15, 16 points there. -2 because the A-bomb wasn't dropped, which gives us 14 points, which is just into the draw category, which is 13 to 18. Japan and the Allies will negotiate a peace so the Allies can defeat Russia and defeat Germany and contain Russia. Well, I did better than the first time I did, where I got, I think, a lowly 9 points there. Boy, if we had just gotten to Singapore, we could have had victory. I do like the strategy here a little bit of kind of sacrificing the China front and not, sacrificing a front, right? Because you don't need points from all 4 areas to win. We came fairly close that time. We needed the A-bomb. We needed a little better luck overall in pushing forward. But definitely taking control of the oceans does seem like it's a priority that pays off well. And we were fortunate. We did get some US troops on Japanese soil, which is kind of cool. But there you have it, a draw for the Allies in our second attempt at Pacific War 1942 Solitaire. So let's talk about some impressions here, but first some things that we didn't see in this game. There are die rolls that can have the Japanese flip all of their units that give them a -1 die roll modifier. We didn't see that happen. There was no die rolls that triggered that for the Japanese. Likewise, there were no die rolls that triggered the in-play for Europe, which would give us die roll modifiers until we used an action to get rid of that. Likewise, there are some Japanese actions that attack if any and all units that are within 2 zones of Japan. We never saw that come up. That's actually a nice roll to get as the allies if the Japanese get it in the early game, because it's basically a wasted turn. They do nothing. So we were a little bit unfortunate that didn't happen. We were fortunate they didn't activate their reserves. And I think that's kind of a wash as to whether they activate Europe or not. But some thoughts on the game. This is a really fun game. It probably took, again, about 20 minutes for me to play this, but I'm doing a lot of talking as I'm making a video. I think as you get up to speed on it, you can kind of play in about 10 or 15 minutes. There are some strategic choices and a little bit of kind of, a soft undercurrent, I think, of strategy and interesting decisions to think about. What zones do you want to emphasize? Do you want to kind of sacrifice one like that? Are you going to use these reserves as you get closer so you can push up quickly? And it turns out we actually ended up wasting that because we never needed it. That could have been the attack we needed to get down into Singapore, although finally, in the end, it didn't matter. I do think taking control of the sea zones makes a lot of sense because of that -1 die roll modifier that goes to your opponent if you have control of the oceans. So taking control of the oceans and prioritizing those was a big help for us. I don't know how lucky or unlucky we were in this one. Definitely luckier than when I played War of 1812. I still feel like we had a lot of low action point rolls and we really struggled sometimes to get good results. I feel like had we had a little bit, well, obviously, had we had a little bit better luck, we would have gotten the points we needed to pick up the victory. But it's fun. It tells a neat narrative. It's a very tight, it's trying to be, I think, a focused travel game that's light strategy, gives you some interesting decisions. And yes, of course, the die rolls play a huge factor in kind of spawning narrative and kind of leading to your ultimate success and failure. But if you do make better decisions, you're going to win more often than if you make poor decisions, for sure. So I like this kind of, this is almost like a beer and pretzels type of solitaire experience that you could take traveling. Certainly fits on like an airplane mat, which is really, really cool. And it's just light. It's not going to overtax your cerebral prefrontal cortex and things like that. It's not trying to do anything like that. It's just kind of letting you play out the Pacific theater in a very light way with some interesting decisions and play it out quickly just about anywhere you can take a box that's this big. So, I think it's important to put this game in the perspective of what it's trying to be. And for that, I think it's a really big success. Now, a question people might ask is, so I've played War of 1812 Solitaire and this. Would I recommend getting both? If you like the gameplay and you like both themes, I'd say definitely getting both. There is enough overlap in gameplay that, I think if you have a strong preference for one theater over the other, like if you're not at all interested in the Pacific War in 1942, I would say just get one, get the War of 1812 Solitaire, and you'll be perfectly happy. But if you have interest in both historical periods, the games are modestly priced. They're very, they're not super expensive and along those lines. And so with that in mind, if you do like the gameplay, it's probably worthwhile. I think you'd like getting them both. But then again, that's a personal decision. You can see here too from the gameplay as to whether that might make sense. So there you have it. Pacific War 1942 Solitaire, designed by Mike Wylie and Grant Wylie, published by Worthington Games. A really neat package of solitaire action that plays fast, learns fast, and is super easy to carry around and be portable. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you have liked this playthrough and want to see our playthrough of the War of 1812 Solitaire, I'll put a link to that video right here. I'd love to hear your comments down below. If you've gotten the game and played the game, have you beaten it yet? How was your scores and any strategies or tips you might have? Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day.